Doug Herbert is here with me on the set to talk a bit more about all of this. And Doug, it's really incredible. Since last year with the murder of George Floyd, and we've seen the Black Lives Matter movement come to light, the full horrors of what happened there in Tulsa in 1921 have only now come to light. I mean, I know myself in school never learned about it.
Never learned about it. I never learned about it either. Look, it's only been taught in the official Oklahoma state curriculum, really for the past 20 years. 2002, they began teaching it. In a recent survey of Oklahomans, 8 out of 10 of them said that they had never been taught about the Tulsa race massacre, arguably one of the most horrific, as you said, darkest chapters in that state and one of the nation's histories. And even today, a lot of people say they've only heard about it because it has come to light in this age, the Black Lives Matter movement, reckonings with racial justice. It is absolutely horrific. You can't even underscore enough. The reason that Greenwood, this district in Tulsa, became what it was, the Black Wall Street, thriving black community, is because at the time, blacks could not approach white businesses. They couldn't just go to the white area of town, walk into businesses. There was segregation in American life. Yes, decades after the abolition of slavery. This neighborhood grew. It was destroyed in the most horrific of manners. You literally had some white pilots in private planes dropping incendiary bombs on a 35 square block area, looting, rampaging, torching, burning. As you said, when it was all over, basically this whole community just eliminated, obliterated from the map. But what's even more remarkable, Jeannie, I just want to bring up a few other points. This is just one of dozens of similar lynchings and riots targeting black people across American history. Really, after the American Civil War, 1860s, during the period after Reconstruction, so-called Reconstruction, all the way through the Civil Rights Movement, 60, 70, 80 years, all the way up to that. Look at this. You've never heard, I bet, of any of these dates. Maybe you heard of 1919, the Red Summer lynchings across major cities, the riots in Chicago. You're from that area, I know. 1898, a Wilmington race riot against the city's biracial white and black government left many dead. 1880, it was also Chinese. There were all these Chinatowns across America, about hundreds of Chinese communities razed. Chinese helped open the American West. They were sent shipping, literally put back on ships, many of them back to Asia. And look at this, as recently as 1985, I lived in Philadelphia back in the 90s. I only learned about this when I was living there. It was the bombing of a compound called the Move Compound belonging to a black liberation movement. I just put 4 bullet points on that little chart, Jeannie. This is one of literally, you can name 100, 200 of these types of lynchings. We're talking about Tulsa because it is one of the most horrific among horrific events.
And the trauma of this, of course, is not just emotional. It really plays out today very concretely in the giant wealth gap that we can see between blacks and whites.
Enormous. Today, I jotted it down because I didn't want to forget. The non-Hispanic black family in Tulsa today has a net worth of about $8,000, makes about $8,000 a year. For a non-Hispanic white family in Tulsa today, $145,000. I didn't get that wrong. $8,000 for the black family, $145,000 for the white family. You're like, what's that about? That's about the economic disparity left not just by Tulsa, but by all of this history of lynchings and riots against black people in which they have been dispossessed of their lives and property and basically taken off the chart of the ladder of social mobility. There is right now efforts at reparations. In 2005, the U.S. Supreme Court refused to hear a reparations case, turned it down. But last year, in September 2020, basically the descendants, survivors, all filed a lawsuit against 7 entities, including the city of Oklahoma, the county, the National Guard of the state at the time, which was implicated and galvanized the riots themselves, as well as the Tulsa Chamber of Commerce. This is ongoing. To this day, Jeannie, I will leave you with this thought. Not a single person was ever punished for the Tulsa race massacre of 1921. Not a single person. There has not been a single penny of reparation paid to any of there are about 3 known remaining survivors, 106, 107 years old today, or their descendants. Not a single penny. Those efforts continue. A lot of historians and also survivors and descendants will tell you there cannot be racial justice and reconciliation in America until events like this have some sort of acknowledgement and reparation.
Doug, thanks for that. France 24's Doug Herbert.